In today's video, we're talking about my layout. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tim, and during the pandemic, I've started to look like my dog, and I love all things model trains. As I said before, in today's video, we're gonna be talking about my layout. The reason I chose N scale was actually just because of space. At the time when I was getting into model trains, I was living at my parents' house, and it just made the most sense to get N scale and just take up a small portion of the basement. Now, the layout that I have is 3.5 by 7.5 feet, and it was built as a portable layout to go to train shows. Now, the reason my layout is 3.5 by 7.5 feet instead of 4 by 8 is because when I was asking my dad if I could build a table to put a train layout on, he said, "There's some scrap lumber behind the garage. Knock yourself out." And the piece of plywood that was there just so happened to be 3.5 by 7.5 feet. Now, at the time, I really didn't know what I was doing when it came to construction, but I built something that resembled a table and put some foam on top of it, and next thing you know, we had a layout. It is a double track mainline inverted figure 8 with an over-under, with some industries on the inside of the loops for some switching. I wanted a track plan that maximized the runtime because I knew that a 4 by 8 layout, even in N scale, is not a lot of space to run long trains, and I love running long trains. Why? Because they make it like that. There are long trains in the world. Now, I model modern, fictional CN with some BNSF and Norfolk Southern as well. I model what I like to see, and I make it up as I go. Now, I know a lot of people, they like to plan out their track plans and they like to model specific areas and specific junctions and all of that stuff. Honestly, more power to you. I just love running trains and I love the look of it. That's what I'm in the hobby for. I love to look at the trains going by and I love to run some switching. Now, if it's not 100% prototypical, that's fine with me. My channel is dedicated mostly to detailing, more specifically weathering and graffiti. Now, I do a little bit of rock work and scenery and trees and things like that as well, but the main focus on my channel has always been weathering and graffiti. I do intend on branching out a little bit and covering a lot more aspects of the hobby because I enjoy all parts of the hobby. Now, part of the reason that I wanted to do this layout tour is because I wanted to show you what I'm working with right now, because I plan on actually expanding my layout in the near future. My layout was always built as a portable layout. I used to take it to shows when we had shows. Thank you, COVID. I used to take the layout to shows and use it as a showcase for the work that I was doing with the weathering and graffiti. Over time, it just got to be a hassle to bring it to shows because it is large, and I didn't always have access to a van to bring it to the shows. I didn't always have a second person to help me carry it into the shows, so I stopped bringing it with me. Once that happened, I felt, why am I trying to keep this thing portable? Why can't I just expand and have a bigger layout? And with this channel, I have a perfect excuse to showcase the build and take you guys along with me. I plan on documenting every aspect of the build from start to finish, from the bench work to laying track to figuring out a track plan, wiring, scenery, the whole 9 yards. Now, all the rock work that you see on the layout is actually carved out of blue styrofoam insulation and then hand painted. I will be doing a tutorial on this in the near future, so stick around for that. But I'm really happy with how the rock work turned out. Now, I've used the plaster rock molds, but I'm super happy with how customizable the styrofoam is. Now, I live in Ontario, Canada. North of where I am is a place called the Muskokas and Algonquin Park. Now, the rock work up in the Muskokas and in Algonquin Park is just breathtaking. It's not quite mountains, but it's pretty nice. I've always loved the look of those rocks, so that's kind of what I was going for with the rock work on my layout. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm modeling a Muskoka layout. It just means that I like the look of that, and that's what's on my layout. Now, because I like graffiti and I like industry, I tend to model the dumpier end of town, and that just gives me the excuse to add more graffiti and weather things a lot more and really showcase what it is that I enjoy about the hobby. I like to model things that look real, and that shiny plastic look is just not working for me. Now, in the one corner of my layout, I have a scrapyard. What's fun about that scrapyard is right now it doesn't look much like a scrapyard because there's not that much scrap. But my plan has always been to just add things to the scrapyard as I go. There's always going to be times when a model doesn't quite work out when you're building it, or something will break, And what do you do with it besides throw it out? You add it to the scrapyard. I've now had this layout in my possession for 10 years, and I haven't actually changed all that much on it because once I got married, it kind of moved around with me to a couple different spots, and I didn't really have the time or the energy or the space to work on it. And now that I'm here and I have the time, I really have the time. Thank you again, COVID. Appreciate it. Now that I have the time and the space to work on this layout, I'm really starting to notice how much it's kind of deteriorated over the years because I haven't been keeping up with the maintenance and all of that. And that's another reason why this build is kind of exciting. A lot of the areas that need improvement, where it's just deteriorated over time, or it's just a matter of the fact that I wasn't that great 10 years ago at laying track. Either way, the expansion is going to fix a lot of the problems that the layout has now, and I'll be able to make it something that I'm proud of again. Not to say that I'm not proud of this layout. I'm really proud of this layout. To be able to build this layout 10 years ago and still be happy with how it is now, aside from a few hiccups here and there from just a lack of experience and lack of maintenance. Now, the thing about model railroading is it's never done. You're never 100% finished with a layout to then say, okay, I'm finished now. There's no more work for me to do. I'm never there. I'm always going to be working on this layout, and I'm always going to be pushing it to the next level. What can I do to make it better? Can I add lighting? Can I add more people, more cars? Can I put birds? Can I put more trees? All these different things that are going to make this layout better. I'm always going to be pushing to make this layout so much more than it is, and I'm going to be taking you guys along with me. I know this video is a little bit outside of the box, but I just wanted to show you where I'm coming from in the beginning stages of this build series, and I want to take you along with me every step of the way. If you're interested in watching this build, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified every single time I post a new video. I'm going to try to post as often as possible, but you do not want to miss when I post another video, so that bell is very important. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It really makes a difference. Feel free to share this video with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.